and welcome to a new video. I'm going to be doing a themed vlog for the next week. I don't know how long this is going to take, but the idea behind it is that I am 8 books behind on my Goodreads goal, and while I'm currently reading The Assassin's Blade and When Beauty Tamed the Beast by Eloisa James, by the time I finish those 2 books, I will be 2 more books behind, and I've been consistently quite behind on my Goodreads goal because I just haven't been reading as fast with all of school happening and everything. So I thought it would be fun to do a bunch of novella reads from the library. I have one from Kindle Unlimited and just the free Kindle books that you can get. I believe they're all romance. I'm quite sure they're all romance, and I am so excited to be reading some of these. I have way more than 8 on my Kindle, but I'm going to choose 8 of them. The one from Kindle Unlimited I'm going to read for sure first because I only have Kindle Unlimited for a couple more weeks, which means I really should be dedicating this time to reading comic books because I have so many left that I want to read. But here we are. Anyway, I just am in the mood to read some romance books, and these are all under 200 pages, so they're quite short. That's why they're novellas, and I'm so excited to give them all a try and catch up on my Goodreads goal. So the one I'm going to be starting first is Go Deep by Rilsey Adams. This is from Kindle Unlimited, that's why I'm reading it first. And I also, in doing some research to look up some recommendations for romance novellas, this one came up by far the most often. Everyone loved it. It's not even a year old, I don't think, but everyone loved it when it came out, and I've heard such amazing things. Character development wise, it's a really well written book for such a short book. I'm very excited to start reading it. I will probably read a bit of this tonight and a bit of The Assassin's Blade because that is what I'm reading right now currently, but I'm so excited to get started, and I will keep you updated as I finish each novella. Hello, a novella book reading update, you know what I'm saying. It is the next day. It's actually almost midnight the next day, but I finished Go Deep by Rilsey Adams. I really liked it. I liked the characters and the development, and for being such a short book, the emotional development between these characters was really well done, and I truly believed that these characters were best friends and then fell in love with each other. The chemistry was great. There was just something in the writing style that I just didn't really like, and I don't know exactly how to explain it, and I don't know what it was. I think it was just a very blunt writing style, and I tend to gravitate more, not something super obnoxiously lyrical and magical, but something in the middle maybe. It was just really straightforward. It felt I don't know, an essay or something. I don't know how to explain it. And it's weird because she obviously is a good writer. She was able to so strongly make me believe that these characters loved each other, and it was great. But there was just something in the mechanics of the writing style that I just didn't mesh with for some reason. So I give it a 4 out of 5 stars, a really solid novella, but there was just something weird to me that just didn't mesh with my brain. There is a couple novellas I have on my Kindle that I was trying to choose which one I'd read next. I chose one called Something in Ireland, and I read the dedication page, and the book was dedicated to God. And that was a red flag, and I just decided, nope, I'm not gonna do it. Look, if you want to dedicate your book to God, go for it, but this is not that kind of reading vlog. So I picked up instead Naughty Boss by Whitney G. Not the best cover, but I was just marking it as reading on Goodreads, and Riley from Riley Marie recently read it and gave it 4 stars, which is a pretty solid rating from her, so I am excited to give it a try. I hope it's not too long. I think it said average of 3 hours and it takes to read the book. Author's note. This is from her collection, Steamy Coffee Reads Collection, series of standalone novellas. Usually there's a hot alpha male and a strong heroine. That's all I need. That's all I need. And she says to enjoy it with a cup of coffee. I wish I had a cup of coffee, but it is midnight. But I'm very excited to start this. I'm not going to start it tonight. I'm going to read Assassin's Blade for a little while, but that is one book down on my novella list. I'm gonna probably have to go and download more because I just vetoed like 3 books that I had downloaded by looking them up on Goodreads, and I was like, no, that's not it. And like one I looked up, it had 2 ratings and they were both bad, and I was like, I should find another one. I think I have a couple on the library as well. So I will definitely be getting more reading done. I just have to somehow get through homework tomorrow, which we'll see if that's possible. There was something else I wanted to say, but it's midnight and my brain has been doing homework all day, so I don't remember what I was going to say, so I'm just going to log off now, and I will talk to you guys next time I have finished a novella. Hello, an update for my novella reading vlog. I finished Naughty Boss by Whitney G last night, and I really enjoyed it. I really liked the characters, and I liked the banter between them. I will say I was never fully convinced that he loved her, and she definitely, I could see where her feelings were coming from a bit, and he did a lot of actions that showed that he loved her, but he never really put it into words. So I wasn't fully convinced of their romantic relationship, but I will say it was a really fun read. It very much reminded me of 50 Shades of Grey, but minus the Red Room stuff. But I think it was a really fun read, and it was a lot quicker than I thought it would be. And I enjoyed it overall, and I definitely want to read more books by her. Unfortunately, my library does not have any of them, and I don't have Kindle Unlimited for very much longer, so I don't know where I will read those books, but I would read some more by her in the future. Next, I'm actually picking up a historical romance but novella. It's called A Lady's Luck by Maggie Dalton. It's a blue stocking sort of trope, which is my favorite, so I'm really enjoying it. It's about 150 pages, so it's a pretty normal length novella, and I am just a couple chapters in, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm excited to see how a historical romance differs in novella format, because there's a little bit more, you need a little bit more time for the couple and relationship to develop in the historical setting than in the modern setting, so it'll be interesting. I already really like the 2 main characters. I think Henrietta, who is the heroine, is hilarious. She basically just bets on people in the ton and makes rumors about them so she can bet on her rumor, and that's how she's amassed her fortune. And it's just hilarious. And so she's bet on this guy, and that he's the one that got this actress pregnant, and he's so mad because he is like, you're tarnishing my reputation, but she hasn't come right out and said that it was her doing this, and he can't outright accuse her because she's a woman, and it's just gonna be a lot of fun. I think I'm really enjoying it, so I hopefully will finish that today. We'll see. And then I have found quite a few other novellas that I want to pick up next. I have an audiobook that I actually think I will start and finish today. That's 2 hours. It's called Set by someone, Alexandra something. And then there's 2 ebooks I have found on my computer that I really want to pick up next. There's one by Jessa Kane, who I really enjoyed A Pinch of Sugar by her. And then there's another one I found called Whipped by Jenny something. Jenica Snow. I saw that author recommended in a novella video on YouTube by, Intentionally Bookish, I think is her username. I will put it on the screen. She recommended Jenica Snow, and this cover just looked adorable, and it's about a bakery, and I have a soft spot for bakery romances. So I will hopefully be getting to all of these very soon. This whole plan to read novellas to catch up on my Goodreads goal is not very effective if I'm taking just as long to read the novellas as I am the regular books that I'm reading. So I'm gonna try and get as much reading done today as possible. I have a little bit of homework first, and then I just plan on just reading because both my mom and my sister are at work right now. So for once it's quiet in the house, and I am going to hopefully get some homework done very quickly and then some reading, and I'm very excited. And I will update you when I have finished one of these novellas. Hello, another novella update. It is the same day. I just listened to all of Set by Alexandra House today while I was doing homework, and it was pretty good. I liked the characters and I liked their connection. I think even though it was mostly a physical relationship for most of the story, I could pretty clearly see their emotional connection, which I really liked. I will say, and I looked on a Goodreads review, and Jess from Peace Love Books said the same thing, in that the timeline doesn't make a lot of sense. Like it just kept jumping back and forth with flashbacks to present to flashback to present. Like, just pick one. Like, I understand the flashback explaining when they met and all of that, but you don't have to keep flashing back to random scenes from the past. Like, just do the present timeline. So it got a little confusing, especially listening to it. I wasn't able to always know exactly when it was, so it was a little weird, but I did enjoy the writing. I enjoyed the story and the characters, so I would say it's like a 3 or 4 stars. So I did enjoy it. I might pick up the next in the series because it's a series of 3 novellas, so I might read that, or I might focus on the ebook novella I have, and whenever I finish the next one, I'll update you later. Hello, another novella reading update from the exact same spot because I was listening and doing homework. I read She's the One by Ella Good. I listened to it on the Read Me Romance podcast, which is a new discovery for me, and I love this podcast, but I hated this book. I hated it. It was only 70 pages, so like I couldn't have expected too much going into it, but I kind of don't like the mindset of not expecting a lot just because it's a novella. Like, it can still be great even though it's a novella. But let me just, hold on, I wrote it down on my Goodreads. There's a couple things I want to just read to you. First off, I went in with pretty high expectations actually because it was a female-female romance, and that was the first novella I had come across as a recommendation that was a female-female romance. I watched a video and she in the video had recommended this and said it was on the Read Me Romance podcast. I was like, that's great, and it's super short. And I had never listened to the podcast before. It's Tessa and Alexa Riley, which is a duo author, I learned. And I really enjoyed their commentary and everything. And didn't know that's what Tessa sounded like. But I really did not like this book. I really did not like it. So like literally 10 minutes into reading of the audiobook, the main character, what's her fucking name? I don't know. One of the girls' name was Star. One was like Maya, Marissa. I'm literally the worst at names. It's not important. But she has a roommate named Dally, and what she says is Dally goes, oh, do you want some chips? And she's like, of course I want chips. And she's like, I'll just have the chips now, and then I'll make it up by just having a Diet Coke later, because Diet Coke has no calories. Already pissed me off. And then it got worse. It got worse. She said about her best friend / roommate, Dally looks at food and gains weight. No, we do not fat shame in this reading vlog, okay? No. And then she also was like I'm not like other girls. I'm so beautiful, but like I don't know I'm beautiful. I've never had to count calories. Good. No one should have to count calories. That's eating disordered behavior. So that really pissed me off, and like I wanted to DNF it. Like I really, and honestly, my life would not be any different if I had DNF'd it. Only thing is I get a book out of like a, book count on my Goodreads out of this. So fine. I'm going to give it a 1 star. The relationship itself was almost interesting. But then it really wasn't, because it was instant love. And I know it's a novella and you're trying to build a relationship in a very small amount of time. But like literally, she came over to Star's place. They had their first kiss. Cool. They slept together. Okay. And the next day, they said, I love you. And I was like, no. And honestly, the steamy scenes weren't even that well written. Like, no, it was a complete disappointment. I would like to find better female-female romances in the novella world. I know that there's got to be some out there. I just really hated this book. I think even if the romance had been better written, I still would not have given it a good rating solely based on these like diet culture comments. That is a hard line for me. I will not tolerate it. There are times that I've noticed in like maybe I don't think too much about it, but these ones were so blatant and like just absolutely terrible. And honestly, it'll take a lot to convince me to read another book by this author. So it's a no from me. I'm sorry if you like this, but like every booktuber and, you know, every reader has a thing that they won't tolerate in a book. And this is one of them for me. And it's not because like, it's not like something that I just am a little uncomfy about. Like, it genuinely makes me very angry. Like, it's similar to the idea I saw in a Crystal Bookish Life video. She said one of her hard like passes is when they talk about another female character and they talk like, oh, she's like really fit and like really muscular and it's gross. Like, that's one of her, like, that's disgusting, which I totally agree. I do not want to hear any comments negative about another female character's body. Like that, I think it just comes down to that. This main character had no right to make comments about that. Her best friend's body. Like, who thinks that about their best friend? And then she also didn't have very positive speak about her own body, which she was in college. She's, you know, still learning to love her body. That I understand, but like, it's not like she ever changed her mind on that either. So yeah, it was not good. It was not good. So that one gets literally a 1 star. I hated it. I would love to try some more from the Read Me Romance podcast though. I think I might go pick one from there now, and hopefully this book will be getting, or this vlog will be getting closer to done. I am now down to 5 books behind on my Goodreads goal, and you're probably wondering, Spirit, haven't you read like more than that? It's because I'm reading so slowly. So I've read 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've read 4 novellas so far, but I'm still 5 books behind, so I will try and probably finish all 5 of those books in this reading vlog, even though I was originally only going to read 8. Time is passing, and I'm not reading fast enough to keep up with my Goodreads goal, so I'm gonna go pick another Read Me Romance one probably, and then I'm also reading the one on my ebook. But I'm gonna try and make my graduation cap today, which I think would be best with an audiobook, obviously. So I will update you when I finish my next novella. Hello, a novella reading update. I have quite a few updates actually. I read Lovely Baker by ALYSSA Riley on the Read Me Romance podcast. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. 4 out of 5 stars actually. It sits in between those. It was really enjoyable because I liked the characters quite a lot and I think their chemistry was very well developed, but I don't think their relationship was very well developed. It was very insta-love, but I liked the single parent aspect to the story. I liked that she was a single parent to her younger brother and he accepted that so quickly and wanted to help her. I did really like that aspect of the story. My biggest problem is I picked this book up because it was called Lovely Baker, and I love romances that involve bakeries or restaurants or whatever, like food. I think they're so much fun, and the bakery was not at all a part of this story, like literally whatsoever. Like, she was at the bakery in the first chapter and then went on vacation for her friend's wedding. So there was nothing about the bakery, so I was a little bummed about that, but overall, I did like it. I liked ALYSSA Riley's writing. I just wish it was a little longer to actually develop the emotional side of the relationship as well as like the chemistry side of the relationship. I just realized I upset my Alexa by saying the author's name. Hello, a bit of an update from editing me. I realized I completely forgot to talk about one of the books I listened to. I listened to Swipe by Kennedy Ryan, and somehow in my updates I never mentioned this one, but I listened to it on the Read Me Romance podcast. I think it was a Read Me Romance like exclusive audiobook, and I only gave it a 3 stars. I did enjoy it, and I do want to read more books by Kennedy Ryan, but I just found it a little too quick and like there wasn't enough emotional payoff. So it followed a woman who was the widow of this super famous author, and so everyone just sees her as that, and like she's still having to like accept awards on his behalf and like all this stuff. And it's sort of like second chance romance almost, in that she finally is ready to get back out there, and the editor of her late husband has been in love with her all this time, and he is like you know, wants to jump in on that and like wants to finally confess his love to her. So that is what he does, and it's a really fun premise. I just don't think it was executed perfectly in that it just wasn't enough time to develop, like, further develop their romantic relationship. And then there was some like weird twist at the end that I should have seen coming, and it was just very sad. So I did like it. It just wasn't absolutely mind-blowing. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, like I said. So that is that book that I totally forgot to update you about. So I'm adding in this crappy just laptop recording. Anyway, I also listened to Holiday Wishes by Jill Shalvis yesterday, which is a Christmas novella. 5 out of 5 stars. Jill Shalvis can like just not disappoint me. She's so good. I love her writing so much. This was a story in which I did recognize some of the characters because it is from the Heartbreaker Bay series, and I've read, I think, 2 from that series. 1, I don't know. I've read some of them, so I'm familiar with some of the characters. The characters that were getting married in this book, I don't think I've read their story, but the premise is that they are all, the whole wedding party is going to this cabin to have like the weekend before the wedding, and then they're going to drive down to the venue, which is like 30 minutes away from this little like cabin in B&B type of thing. And the brother of the groom is the one in charge of everything, and when he is checking in, he recognizes the girl at the front desk, the girl who now owns this B&B. It's run by her family now, as his fling from high school. They slept together in high school and haven't really spoken since then because she moved and he panicked and never wrote her back like the letters she sent. So lots of history there, but I think that's what made this book work so well, the fact that they had an established relationship and that this was a second chance romance. It was so sweet. I loved the characters. I loved seeing Spence and the other girl's name, which is the characters that I read in one of Jill Shalvis' other books. I can't remember the title. That was also, I believe, a Christmas romance. So this was a lot of fun getting to see some familiar faces and getting to meet these new characters, and it wrapped up really nicely, but also I do think that they could be their own like full-length novel even following this one. I wish this had been a full-length novel, to be quite honest, but it did work as a novella since it did only take place over a weekend. But I would have even liked, like, I would like to see what they were like after this, because they just sort of begin to decide that they're going to date by the end of it. And like, they've been together, but they, you know, are deciding that this will be an actual relationship and not just another fling. And I would like to see how that relationship develops, and then maybe they break up and get back up, you know, together again, that kind of thing. And lastly, I finished A Lady's Luck by Maggie Dallin, which I've been reading for a couple days. Honestly, I'm torn because I really liked the writing and I liked the characters and the blue stocking trope and just how funny and like how well these characters got along in like a banter sort of way. But I finished the whole 150 pages and there were barely like 2 kiss scenes, and that's it. And like, just because it's a romance, I know you can't expect there to be steamy scenes, to be sex scenes, but like there's kind of is an expectation, and I feel like I put in the time, and then it was a very PG like romance, which is fine. I know some people like that, but I feel like it leaves out a part of the story that I feel like needs to be there. That being said, I did really like the characters. I just wish there had been a little bit more, and I think because that was lacking in the story and because it was historical, so it just went slower. It didn't feel like a novella, and it felt really long, and it just wasn't like fast paced, but I did like the stories, and I would consider picking up another book by her in the future. And then I started this morning Once Ghosted, Twice Shy by Alyssa Cole, which is a female-female romance. Hopefully it'll make up for that disaster of a one I read before. I've read an Alyssa Cole book before, and I really, really enjoyed it. I don't remember which one I read, to be quite honest, but it was from this Reluctant Royal series. This book is following the, like, right-hand man. like assistant of the prince in the book that I read. And she had like a one-time hookup with this girl when she was in New York in that book that I already read. I guess I could look up the title of it. And then that girl broke her heart because she's like, oh, like, we can just stop here. Like, I'm not gonna try and do long distance. You're going back to wherever you're from and all that. I read A Princess in Theories, Reluctant Royals #1. So and then now she's back in New York because the prince is living in New York to live with the love interest from the other one. And they run into each other on the subway, and that's basically as far as I got. But I am really enjoying it. And it's a fun book, and I have a lot of faith in Alyssa Cole's writing. I really liked what I read from her before. So that is my update. I am now only, it says, 2 books behind on my Goodreads goal. So I'm going to finish the Alyssa Cole book, probably pick one more audiobook, or maybe pick one of the ebooks I have saved on my computer. And so next time I see you, I will be closing out this reading vlog. So that was a long update. I have a couple chores to do, and I will update you when I'm done with my next books. Hello and welcome to my last update for my novella reading vlog. I have read 2 novellas today. I finished Once Ghosted, Twice Shy by Alyssa Cole that I mentioned in my last update. I give it a 4 out of 5 stars, maybe even a 5 stars, because I really enjoyed it. It was the female-female romance I was hoping that other book would be. This one was so much better, which I went in expecting it to be quite good because Alyssa Cole is a really great writer. And I just really liked these characters, and I liked that it was a character I was familiar with, it being the assistant person, I don't know what to call her, from the prince in the first book. And I really liked the relationship she had, and there was a lot of like emotional depth for it being such a short book. It's only 106 pages, and I just really liked it. It was such a sweet story. It was, like I said, like there was a lot of emotion, but there was a lot of like a little bit of steamy scenes too, so it was just lots of fun. I really enjoyed it. I definitely want to keep reading more in this Reluctant Royal series. And then I found a book that I am so glad I read because I loved it. It is Lord Dashwood Missed Out by Tessa. It is part of the Spindle Cove series, and I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars. It's not very long, 144 pages. I listened to the audiobook and I adored it. I loved it so much. Now, I have read the first book in the Spindle Cove series that follows Paulette and something, and I really enjoyed that one. Like, it wasn't my favorite book of all time, but I did really enjoy it. And it was so much fun to see those characters again in this one, and like part of it was even sort of told from their point of view, so I thought that was so sweet to check back in on them. And then this is actually book 4.5, so there were 3 other couples mentioned as well that I was not familiar with, but it was still fun to see them and go back to Spindle Cove in general. But this followed a character named Eleonora Browning who doesn't actually live in Spindle Cove, but she's kind of that type of girl, doesn't really fit in to London society and everything, and she is getting kind of famous now because she wrote a pamphlet, a little book type thing about this guy that she calls Mr. Ashwood, or Lord Ashwood, and about how he broke her heart because he left, and how, you know, actually she needs to treat herself better, and, you know, as a woman her time is worth more, blah blah blah. And it gained a lot of traction because a lot of women were like, yeah, men need to try to, you know, get our attention. We need to, like, it doesn't all depend on us. And he comes back and he's like, so you wrote this about me. So Lord Dashwood was like, just because you removed 1 letter, that doesn't mean this isn't about me and you're kind of ruining my reputation. She's like, it's not about you. And it's just really funny because they were childhood friends and she always loved him, and she thought he did too, but then he left to be a cartographer, I think. But the truth is he loved her the whole time, and it was the absolute sweetest. They ended up in a carriage. They had to share a carriage on the way to Spindle Cove because she was going for sort of an author event, basically. And he was the only one with the carriage, so they shared it, and then they got snowed out and had to stay in this little cabin thing, and it was just the absolute sweetest. I loved it so much. If you want a trope of where, like, the hero is just like totally gone for the heroine, this is it. If you want a trope where both hero and heroine are virgins, this has that, and I loved that aspect of the story. And it also, you know, the snowed in, forced proximity, 2 people, 1 bed, like it was just all fantastic. I loved this book. I really need to read more Tessa Dare because I just love her writing. So yeah, that one was definitely a great book to end this reading vlog on, because that was such a great note to, you know, go out with. So I am now on track. I have read 31 books this year. I'm not sure how many novellas I ended up reading. Let's see. I ended up reading actually 10 novellas. I went out into this video with the goal of 8. I read 10 and I'm quite happy. I definitely am gonna keep reading novellas because they're so much fun. There's a couple of these are like parts of series that I would like to keep reading, and I still have quite a few ebooks saved on my Kindle and just like online that I would really like to read. So at this point though, these novellas will probably just be thrown into my regular reading vlogs, but this is a fun little special introduction to romance novellas. So I hope you enjoyed. I upload every Sunday. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye!